Welcome to Lessons from the Field. As you know, this is a series of interviews that we do with a diverse array of guests, all of whom have a common thread, and that is a passion for pharmacy and pharmaceutical sciences. And today we're featuring Mary Beth Bobek, who is a graduate of our residency program, Pharmacy Practice Residency in 1994. She's currently an independent consultant and president of Transitions Foundation in North Carolina. And as with our other guests, I'll be asking Dr. Bobek a series of questions that we hope will elicit some insight from her on her career and her experiences for the benefit of our alumni, our residents, and recent graduates and friends of the college. So let's go ahead and get started. Mary Beth, it's great to see you again, by the way. And
see you.
Maybe we could just start with, you can give us a little 3-minute overview of your time here at UIC and what you've done since then.
Well, you know, Glenn, 3 minutes may not be enough. My time. But yeah, I stared pre-pharm at Northern Illinois University, not far from you guys.
Huskies.
Yes, the Huskies. And then went on to pharmacy school at University of Michigan. Came back down to visit you guys, did your pharmacy practice residency. Then finally landed on what I wanted to do, critical care and ED medicine. So you all got me rah-rah about ED medicine. So I had to find a place to do that, thanks to Frank Polachek and Kevin Wren was my fellow then. So we went out to Detroit Receiving and did that. Was lucky enough, Cleveland Clinic was hiring coming out of that. Out of that second residency, and jumped at the bit to get that critical care job at the Cleveland Clinic. And they were just starting clinical pharmacy services. They had nothing. So it was brand new, clean slate. So I developed those services, started the pharmacy practice residency there.
Oh, great.
Met my husband on rounds. He took a job. He didn't want to stay in academics, so he wanted to go private practice. So he moved me down here to Wilmington, North Carolina, and got lucky enough. There was a small UNC Chapel Hill school pharmacy site down here. And so Bruce Kennedy was nice enough to give me a part-time job to precept his students while he was up at Chapel Hill for internal med and critical care. So I did that for a while. Got lucky. I bumped into the director of the cardiovascular service line at the hospital. They too did not have clinical pharmacy services. When I joined, even as a preceptor, they didn't really have any other folks doing clinical pharmacy. So she worked at Texas Heart and was like, I need a PharmD to work with these cardiologists and these cardiothoracic surgeons down here. So, he made a business case for the proposal, sold it to the chief operating officer, and worked for them. I didn't work for the pharmacy department, so I worked for the cardiovascular service line. And started like cardiac ENT, started their research program down here. A lot of the docs are from Duke and UNC, so they're hot on research. So we built that out, and then I built out the cardiovascular symposium, our regional meeting with Duke and Chapel Hill. And so about 15 years here, I was like, I got to do something else. I have to do something else. And there's not a lot, this is pretty much it. This is the only hospital here. So I decided healthcare is becoming more of a business. So I decided to go back and get my MBA at Chapel Hill. And went to Chapel Hill, had a great time, and just fell in love with the entrepreneurship and innovation track in the MBA program. Worked with a bunch of startups in Raleigh, RTP, went over to Denmark, worked with a whole bunch of startups, and came back to Wilmington going, what am I gonna do? I wanna do this, So the hospital started an innovation team. Some hospitals are starting to develop that, and similar to our smaller community hospitals here. So I joined that team, but that wasn't enough for me. So I wanted to do more. So I had started consulting, I would say about, 7 years ago. I was an FDA advisor. So pharma execs would hire me to help them get ready for FDA preparation. So I had a consulting business, but I still worked full time. It wasn't something. So I decided to do this innovation thing full time, and have offices. You'll see over there at the university here in Wilmington has a Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. And I'm currently working with Chapel Hill to develop like a healthcare innovation rotation for pharmacy students.
Oh, great.
And also with the College of Health and Human Services here to develop a healthcare innovation certificate program that we can offer not only pharm students, but we've got social work, physical therapy here, other disciplines over here in Wilmington. So that's currently what I'm up to.
Wow, exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Well, you've seen a lot over the time since you were at UIC, but you did your residency here. Maybe you could reflect on the experience that you got from that and how that set the stage for all of those other great things that you've done since then.
Yeah, your program is just so extensive. You got so much experience. I was looking for a residency that could offer me everything. Like if I wanted to go ambulatory care, I could go ambulatory care. If I had an inkling I wanted critical care coming out of Michigan, but I wasn't quite sure. And so you guys all offered me a array of choices. So I came down here and it was a great experience. Like I said, having the fellows and the residents collaborating together was awesome. And I still keep in touch with a lot of them and a lot of the alum with me, and learned a lot from them. This residency pushes you out of your comfort zone with the on-call program. And that was something I was looking forward to experiencing. And so it really, like I mentioned, changed me because I did not know about emergency medicine and how much I would like it. And Frank and Kevin with their enthusiasm and their spirit, they got me hooked on emergency medicine. So it prepared me tremendously to go on to the PGY2, and also helped, as well with Cleveland Clinic as a youngster coming out of residency. So you all helped so much, and it's such a great program. I still, when kids are interested down here, the pharmacy students, I always gotta go look at UIC. They have the coolest on-call program.
Great. Well, we owe you a finder fee then. Well, it sounds like, that's what we hear a lot from our residents, and we're proud of that. But you obviously got a lot of experience in the subsequent positions that you were in over 3 decades or so now. So what experiences or maybe even people along the way influenced you or informed your career the most over your time in pharmacy?
There's 2 real pharmacy leaders for me, directors that, their vision and just inspired me. And that was Bruce McWhinney, who was at Cleveland Clinic, that hired me, obviously. Just had that dream of making clinical pharmacy happen at Cleveland Clinic and made it happen. So that's great. And then when it came down here, Bruce also, there was I forgot his name. Oh gosh, he's good. Bruce Canaday actually was very inspiring as well. He was a big shot at Chapel Hill and a big leader in the clinical pharmacy movement. But to be honest with you, it was actually physicians and nurses that really impacted my career. At Cleveland Clinic, the director of critical care the physician director of critical care took me under his wing and really pushed me, got me involved in research and going to, regional meetings with the physicians and speaking on that stage, chest medicine and critical care medicine. I never would have happened and gotten me that exposure. And then, I wanted to point out that you never know who you're on a committee with, right? So I'm on a conscious sedation committee meeting here in Wilmington for New Hanover Regional Medical Center. And I did not know the nurse next to me was a big shot. She was in the nation in nursing, and a vacancy came up on the FDA advisory board and for anesthesia, and she recommended me and got on that. And I just, wanted students and residents to know that, you never know who you're sitting next to in meetings. It could lead to some really cool career moves, and that would have never happened. That experience was just amazing.
Yeah, and did that lead to some of the consulting that you did later? And
yeah, exactly. They, into a lot of it's usually not the pharma that we're thinking of, the big pharma like GlaxoSmithKline that needs your help. It's that startup. That's that startup company that's got a new anesthetic drug, and they need you to come in, and they hire you as well as other physician leaders to sit and do a mock FDA preparation meeting, and we look through their materials as well to get them ready. So that's a lot of fun, and getting to meet people and physicians from all over the country is really cool experience.
Yeah. Wow, your experience really shows how interprofessional we are, and how a lot of the opportunities that you have might end up being outside of pharmacy and actually working for all across the healthcare field. So that's good. That's a good lesson to learn for our students and so forth. I mean, I guess the next question I wanted to ask you is, you've taken what your experience and your training and really put it to great use, and ended up moving into different areas. How do you keep up and stay relevant, given how fast things change? And how do you consistently find ways to expand your experience in that way to make you more marketable, more competitive for jobs?
Yeah, I think what I've done is just try to take on many different projects that gets me exposure to all different types of people, and make folks realize that we know healthcare too, not just pharmacy, and we can add value. And so by joining committees and leading committees and taking those opportunities to, potentially go back to MBA school or school and keep growing, and you'll become more and more valuable to the organization or to a new organization.
Yeah, great advice. Well, you mentioned our value to healthcare generally. Just kind of given all of your experience and what you've seen, what's maybe one thing you would like to see change about healthcare, or what would you like to improve out there in our whole healthcare system?
Yeah, I think, it's frustrating how slow healthcare can change, and that's been my experience throughout my career. Whether you're in academics or whether you're in a community hospital setting, there's layers of bureaucracy, and so things move slowly through multiple committees, and I wish that could go faster. And I think about now all the data we have, right, sitting in these computerized order entry. We have so much data, but we don't aggregate it and collect it and do research on it. It's so frustrating. I'm hoping that that's going to change, because think about how much advancement in medicine if we just shared data. Yeah. And so that's been one of my, I guess, gripes about the system, is that we could move much faster if there wasn't just so much bureaucracy.
Yeah, that's so true. Well, how about just in terms of pharmacy then, kind of stepping back a little bit? You've been in the profession quite a while now and seen a lot. Where do you see pharmacy going in the years ahead? And then based on all of your experience, what advice would you give to students or folks that are finishing programs now, in terms of preparing themselves for those future opportunities that you envision?
Yeah, I think, because of the situation with COVID, I think telemedicine is here to stay. And I think pharmacists that have adapted to that are ahead of the ball game. And I think we should jump on that bandwagon and be involved in that. I think too, technology is going to continue to invade our space. And so I think we have to embrace it. AI is coming. It may dose medications better than us, but we better know AI, and we better know the ins and outs of it, so that we can then be able to double check that AI that's out there. So don't run away from technology. Try to embrace it. I think it's going to be really important coming up here. Just like I said, stretch yourself. Maybe think about research. Where else can you build skills and want to build skills? So, the one thing I had recommendation for them is follow your passion, right? I had a passion for research. Every time I followed my passion, it led me down a road that was great. And when I didn't, it didn't go very well. And so, lessons learned with that. I think too, Glenn, and I don't know what you all are doing to kind of prepare the new pharmacy students coming out. Like I mentioned to you, we're UNC Chapel Hill, as well as here at, in Wilmington, working on how can we prepare our students for that. And so we're really working on like this innovation, building those team skills that can lead to problem solving and adding more value for the organization. And so we feel really strongly down here that we'd like to implement that across the colleges and really not only have, you know, a pharmacist on the team, but you'd be on there with somebody with an MBA or with, you know, going through the MBA program or computer science, and you learn to work as a team and add value. And so we're kind of trying to build up our students that way. I don't know if you all are kind of thinking the same route, but just getting them to, you know, solve a business problem in healthcare.
Yeah.
That looks really good on your resume or during an interview process, you know. So like I said, I just, you know, as much as you can stretch yourself, I think you make yourself more valuable to the organization.
Great. Well, maybe just one last question, just to wrap up. Any other advice that you'd give to young pharmacists, folks just starting out, maybe doing a residency, whether it's career advice or maybe work-life balance, which, you know, I know that we all deal with, and sometimes it's more difficult than others. So any thoughts on?
Yeah, I think, you know, coming out, I didn't have a lot of work-life balance. I lived at the Cleveland Clinic, you know, but I think folks nowadays feel it's changed. The tide has changed, that you need to take care of yourself to be a better employee or a better resident, and take those mental health breaks and really go out and, you know, do something else, take your mind off of things, you know, to stay healthy. And I'm glad to see that those medicine and probably pharmacy as well have changed, where, you know, you're not working those long hours. And so take advantage of that and make yourself a well-rounded person too. Because I think people want to hire somebody who's got other outside activities and interests and skills that they can bring to the table too.
Yeah. Well, good advice. Well, Mary Beth, it's great catching up with you. I think you might be the first person that we've talked to who is out of the residency program as opposed to one of our degree programs. And it's, I'm glad we did. We'll have to do this a little bit more, but.
No, that's great.
Yeah, congratulations on all your success and what you've been doing. It's really important stuff. And hopefully we can see you back in Chicago before too long.
I plan on it, and feel free to share my email or contact information.
Great.
If anybody has any questions.
Definitely, yeah. We usually do have folks that want to contact the people that we've interviewed. So thank you, Mary Beth.